Thanks for joining us tonight. We start with those attacks against security guards working in Portland. 2 have been shot at. Another punched in the face just in the past few weeks. The disturbing trend making it even harder to recruit for what's already considered a dangerous job. Our Alma McCarty spoke with a guard who said a bullet narrowly missed him as he was on patrol this past weekend.
Having been a security guard for about 4 years, Calvin Reynolds tells me he knows the risks involved.
It's something I get to do for the community.
But what happened early in the morning, July 3rd, was unexpected and alarming.
I took a corner. I saw a guy hop out a white Audi for no reason, reached for his waistband, shot 2 shots. I ducked, I hauled past it, and then he ran across the street and fired more.
He counted 6 shots fired on Northeast Rodney Avenue, one of those bullets nearly hitting him.
One bullet went through the passenger side window and lodged itself in the windshield right in front of me. So I was ducking as I was driving away. That bullet was about 3 inches away from my head. Reynolds
says this isn't even the first time. He's been shot at before, another time in Northeast and once in Vancouver.
You get kind of not, I won't say used to it. But yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing better.
And his most recent experience isn't the only recent case of violence against security guards. On June 26th, on this block of Southeast Division Street, Portland police say a suspect shot a security guard in the chest after a scuffle for the guard's handgun. Luckily, his ballistic vest prevented the bullet from injuring him. Then, on Wednesday, officers say a woman being escorted out of a business near Pioneer Place Mall punched a security guard in the face, then threw a cup of coffee at her. As for the most recent shooting,
it's hard to prepare for an ambush, which is what this was. And I don't think there's any amount of preparation you can do for something like this.
Mark Mercer is Reynolds' boss, owner of Eclipse Security.
This is the first time I've ever had this happen to me or to one of my staff. We certainly have had our confrontations with people. But I will say that it seems like within the last 3-4 years, things have gotten extremely hostile.
He says an uptick in violent incidents is making it much more difficult to find qualified candidates for this line of work.
It's extremely difficult. People don't want to go out there and confront people. They don't want to challenge people. They don't want to engage people. Nobody wants to put a uniform and badge on because they turn into a target.
Now, I asked Reynolds, since he's been shot at before, whether it's still worth it doing this job. He told me yes. Mercer, owner of Eclipse Security, said they're considering additional training for their employees, but the goal always is to de-escalate situations at a low level without any kind of physical interaction. Laurel?
Thank you, Alma. Organizers of the World Athletics Championships are also having trouble finding enough people to run security at the big event in Eugene. That event is just 9 days away. The company handling security says they have about 250 staff hired so far, but we're wanting between 350 and 450 people. Jobs include ushers and security guards. If you plan on going to the event, there's also a lot going on behind the scenes to make it safe. Common security measures will be in place, and you can find specific rules like clear bags only spelled out on the World Athletics website.
We do have scanning security that is like magnetometers, similar to what you see in airports. And so everybody going into the venue will need to go through those monitors. And that's where the big part is, again, knowing what you can and cannot bring into the venue.
As for those interested in joining the security team, Pono Security is handling the hiring process. Visit their website for more information about the job postings. Runners will hit the starting line July 15th. You can watch some of the competition right here on KGW, and you can find more coverage of the preparations for the event online at kgw.com. And now to an update on the man charged with a hate crime this past weekend for allegedly attacking a Japanese family visiting Portland from California. He was released from jail shortly after his arrest. Then he was a no-show at his hearing today, but is back behind bars tonight. Kyle Iboshi has the latest.
Kesterson?
All the key players appeared in court, the judge, the prosecutor, and public defender, but notably absent, the defendant, Dylan Kesterson, who's charged with assault and bias crime, didn't show up. Police say the 34-year-old assaulted a 5-year-old girl and her father of Japanese descent after making comments about their race. Just yesterday, the victim urged a judge to put Kesterson behind bars. He'd been released shortly after his arrest.
This is a very horrible experience for us, and if he is released, we believe a lot of Japanese on other Asians will be in danger.
So why was he released in the first place? Well, here's how we got here. On Saturday, police arrested Kesterson after he allegedly yelled anti-Asian slurs, then attacked a father and his 5-year-old daughter as they were riding a bike on the East Bank Esplanade. Police booked him on intimidation of felony bias crime. Kesterson was released based on guidelines established by the presiding judge, which considers a variety of factors, including a defendant's criminal history. According to court records, this person had no arrests or convictions of any type and so qualified for conditional release prior to arraignment. On Tuesday, following the holiday weekend, the Multnomah County DA's office reviewed the case and filed more serious assault and bias crime charges, which allow for pretrial detention. At his arraignment Tuesday, a judge ordered Kesterson, who was on the phone, to appear in person the following day. And that's where we are now. Prosecutors had planned to request that Kesterson be returned to custody and held without bail, but he never showed up in court. There was a warrant for his arrest, and police took him back into custody on Wednesday afternoon. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
Now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. COVID community levels are rising in Portland and across Oregon. According to the CDC, all 3 metro area counties are now considered high level, along with more than 2/3 of Oregon counties. They are marked in orange on that map. As a result, wearing a mask while indoors in public and on public transportation is recommended. Community levels are based on case rates, hospital admissions, and hospital beds available. Washington is facing a similar slide, with 15 counties now high risk. Access to Pfizer's COVID pill is expanding under a policy change today from the FDA. Now pharmacists can prescribe Paxlovid. Previously, only physicians could do that. The antiviral drug has been shown to curb some of the worst effects of COVID. And we are keeping an eye on the recent outbreak of the monkeypox virus in the U.S. Cases have doubled in New York City in a week, now totaling 96. The city received thousands of doses of the monkeypox vaccine earlier today and began taking appointments within hours. The CDC is reporting 3 cases of the virus in Oregon and 7 cases in Washington. Officials in Oregon are working to trace and vaccinate against monkeypox. The Oregon Health Authority plans to update us tomorrow on the issue. And while there may be only a few confirmed cases right now in Oregon, officials do worry there are more out there. Galen Etlin heard from one official who says, "Don't panic, just be careful."
HMPXV is the human version of monkeypox, a virus spread through skin-to-skin contact that can cause headache, fever, and rash. About 7,000 cases were confirmed worldwide as of Wednesday.
We don't need to be talking about where it came from because it's here and it's spreading.
Jason Davis with Lane County Public Health in the Eugene area is tracking 2 presumed cases, now waiting on lab results. Contact tracing has identified about 25 contacts for one of those cases.
Not only reach people, but make sure that we don't have collateral damage in the process.
The U.S. has about 560 confirmed cases. Oregon has 3, Washington 7, and California 111. Regionally, about 200,000 people are expected to visit Lane County in coming weeks for the Country Fair and World Athletic Championships. Davis is working to raise awareness and prevention ahead of that.
We've seen that pushback with folks who are like, not again. This is just another scare tactic by public health. We're not saying the sky is falling. In fact, I hope we're being transparent and candid about the fact that this is not as contagious as COVID, and it does take that prolonged exposure, primarily skin to skin.
Some outlets have also noted seemingly disproportionate rates of gay and bisexual men contracting HMPXV.
And that comes with its own stigma because of all of the history that has come along with HIV and other things that the community has faced. How are you approaching that challenge?
There is no such thing as a disease that is specific to a certain population. And that's the most important message, that anybody can get this illness.
Testing has been slow. The CDC said Wednesday LabCorp will join efforts to double testing capacity nationwide to 10,000 per week. Other commercial labs may soon join too. The federal government has also ordered about 4 million doses of HMPXV vaccines. Oregon had about 300 doses as of last week.
Distributing a very precious resource at this point.
Vaccines are being held for people with known exposure and people with underlying conditions.
Those individuals who are most at risk.
Anyone with rash or lesions should see a doctor and avoid contact with others and sharing clothes.
Worldwide issue, and it's going to take everybody thinking and knowing how this is spread and how to prevent it in order for us to curb it.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.